Happy Tuesday. Hope you guys are doing well. Wanted to get in and do some fundamental acrylic work with you guys on this Tuesday morning for nail school. Let's get right into this. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through the process of prepping the finger for application, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and remove the shine from the surface of the tip. When I'm prepping the tip, I want to make sure that I'm using, again, gentle pressure around the cuticle area. So I'm going to use my electric file, right? And we're going to, again, tickle around the perimeter of the nail and then just kind of lightly feather from corner to corner to remove shine from the surface. The same kind of pressure I'm going to be using is if I was working on the inside of my wrist. We want to be able to just tickle that away, right? So once we're done removing shine from the surface, what we're going to do is cleanse the surface of the nail with swipe. Okay. And then we're going to apply 2 coats of protein bond, and then we can get right into application, right? So since we're going to be working smile lines today, we're going to actually build out the body in reverse application before we apply our form and our free edge, okay? So 2 coats of protein bond, and let's go ahead and get set up, right, so that we are applying, again, a healthy amount of product to the surface of the nail. Let me go ahead and grab some liquid really fast for you guys. So what we're going to do, I've got a large bottle of Monomer. Again, I just want to dispense this inside my dish, right, without spilling. Even a 32 ounce will work well, right? So I can hold it to the side of the ferrule, and that way it dispenses inside my dish. You can see in my dish, I'm only, again, as deep as here. That way when I'm touching, right, I don't want to fill it up to the surface. It would be a complete waste of product. All right, so we're going to work with Cover Pink, and what we want to be able to do is we want to make sure that when we're actually building, I need to pick up a bead about half the size of the nail. So if I submerge my brush and tap, right, I'm going to be able to pull down and bounce into the surface to get myself a nice bead. So I don't just set the brush into the surface and let it absorb. What I'm going to do is I'm going to basically I'm going to submerge my brush, I'm going to tap it to remove a majority of the liquid. I'm going to pull back, then bounce inside the powder. I'm going to try to get a bead about half the size of the nail bed. I'm going to count out to, I'd say, about 3 or 4 before I actually set this to the back end, and then use the tip of my brush to walk around the perimeter of the nail to get this tight. Now, as you can see, I could just lightly use the tip of the brush to kind of guide the bead down towards the stress area, and then I could use the side of the brush just to kind of slightly touch the smile line back. I'm trying to get not only this tight around here, what I want to be able to do is build a wall that is going to have the same thickness from side to side. And I do have a bird's eye view. So as you can see, I wedge my brush, and then I'm using this to just kind of tuck it in and really kind of carve out that wall from corner to center. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to kind of carve out that wall from corner to center. And then right here at the middle, I'm going to try to get this as even as I can. What I like to do too is use kind of the body of my brush to lightly press from the surface, not too much. I don't want to make it too flat, but as you can see, we're trying to get as even of a smile line as we can from side to side, right? And that way, again, when you're done building it, we're trying to build something that has pretty much even thickness from side to side. I want this side to pretty much be the same thickness on that side as well, okay? So once we're done doing that, then we're gonna grab our form. So if I'm working with a glitter product, remember that we're going to have to cap it with clear. I don't want to overwhelm the surface. So we're going to go with an active length nail. Let's go ahead and pre-pinch the surface of the form. We're going to take this off. I want to be able to get this, again, tight, right, to the free edge. I'm going to rock this up until it touches the end of the form, right, the end of the free edge right there, flush to the nail form. And then I'm going to go ahead and work with that custom glitter mix that I went ahead and made. This would be perfect for the fall. So when we are working a bead, I need to make sure that I'm getting the glitter up to the smile line. But I also want to make sure that what I'm building, right, you can see from the side profile, I don't want this to be a massive free edge. I'm trying to build this as so the ramp is coming this way. I need the ramp to work up towards that wall so that I have room to apply the clear powder over the surface. So if I submerge my brush, again, I pull and bounce into the surface. I'm going to get myself a nice bead. At this point, I can go ahead and take off excess. And then what I'm going to do is, as I work that bead to the front end, I'm going to wipe my brush from the top of the bead. I'm going to walk it down the side, get it even with the growth channel, and then continue to walk from the surface until I tuck it all the way to that corner, okay? Then from this side here, again, get it even with the growth channel, walk it from the top of the bead, pressing this as tight, right, to the smile line as we can. So once we actually have it pressed up towards the smile line, then what you can do is you can continue to not only shape the desired length, but you could also shape out the desired style, right? So I'm going to go with more of a very active length, kind of almanetto shape, right? Pressing this down. You can see from the side profile, again, it's like an upward ramp that we're trying to build up to that smile line. For me, I've always focused on trying to get the product tight to the smile line before I cap it, okay? And what I mean by capping it is once we actually have that pressed up to the side profile, then what you're going to do is take a little bit of speed clear. And again, I don't need a lot. I don't want to overwhelm this. I don't need something that's going to be a lot thicker than the free edge I've already applied. So again, I'm going to take a very small amount of speed clear, and then from the tip, right, just kind of brush it back with that excess that I have here. I'm going to use that, walk it from the side just to lightly cap the tip, right, and brush over. This is not only going to accelerate the cure, but it's going to prevent me from basically over-filing any of the glitter that could actually, we don't want to discolor the glitter. So I want to make sure that if I cap it, it's going to prevent me from actually filing it into silver. I added just a little bit of clear, but you can see from the side profile what I've done, right? The thickest part is going to be where the smile line is. That's the majority of the product I'm going to file away as when the product dries in order for me to get perfection from side to side. This is how you're going to want to be able to build out your smile lines. You don't want to have to shape your smile lines in this direction. The old school way of actually getting the tip of the brush and swiveling the brush behind the smile line. Problem is, it's very hard to pick the glitter from the surface of the nail. You don't want to be able to do that, okay? So while this is drying, let's go over a couple of fundamentals again. I want to be able to cover how you guys can practice, right, working this. So what you can do is you can take the existing tips that you guys have, practice tips. Let's go ahead and work with Cover Pink again. If we were working on a surface like this, what we want to be able to do, again, is I need to get a bead that's about half the size of the nail. So if I submerge my brush, I tap, notice, don't just set, I don't want you guys to just set the brush inside and hope it's going to pick it up. What we have to be able to do is pull back, then bounce into the surface so that you get yourself a bead that, again, that's on one side of the brush. Let's go ahead and flatten this out, submerge my brush, lightly tap, pull back, bounce, bounce, bounce. Watch this. 1, 2, 3, and then at the 4 count, right? This is going to give you the ability to get behind and touch, right? Touch it tight. So as the bead starts to move down, if it's in the right consistency, you can see that I could use the tip of the brush and kind of guide it into place. Now at this point, I can use the side of my brush and just kind of tuck the wall back, right? Again, I'm just tucking it back. I'm not trying to carve anything out. What we want to be able to do is make sure that the center of the bead is running towards the center of the nail. This is going to allow me to use that brush to kind of tuck it back. If the body is obviously a little bit too thin, right, through the center, what we can do is we could always go back. We could grab a much smaller amount of acrylic, and then what you could do is kind of reinforce, right, the thickness through the center, right? But I would rather have you guys don't do that in 2 steps. Focus on trying to get the run tight so that when the product runs down to here, you could spend the time and actually tuck the smile lines back and make them the right thickness, right? So if you were doing an overlay, let's say that some of these natural nails where you glued a tip and you had to get the, instead of sculpting, you had to get the glitter or the white powder basically from here to here, what we would do is a little bit different. I would take my glitter, right? And then I want a consistency where I'm going to be able to push up to the smile line, right, with ease. So I need a little bit of a wetter consistency. I'm going to literally pick this up with a small amount. Watch this. I'm going to wipe this off. And then what we can do with it wet is I could use the tip of the brush and walk it up to the smile line, barely touching. Again, just getting this right up to the edge, right? And what it'll do is it'll self-level into place. But you can see from side to side what I've been able to do, just tuck it. And you can see again at the very, very free edge, even though it's thin, that is okay. Because what we're going to end up doing is taking, again, a very, very small amount of speed clear product. I'm going to work that. I just need a little bit more. Going to work that from side to side. So this is going to fill out any negative space. This is going to basically accelerate the curing process, right? And what we want to be able to do, again, is I want to be able to get this nice and tight. I don't want it to swivel underneath the free edge as we're working. The consistency that I have compared to this consistency is different because I'm working on the surface. Right? So I don't want to struggle with it. I don't want a clay-like consistency. I want a wet consistency so that I could work it from corner to corner, not having to worry about it drying on me. And then obviously as this sets, we're not going to have to worry about it. We can move on to the next nail and go ahead and file that into shape when it's completely dry. All right, so again, working smile lines, but understanding when you're actually sculpting, like this is set and ready to file. You can see I can go ahead and take the form off. This is ready to go. This was an overlay. So 2 different consistencies so that you get great results when you're actually working with that type of technique. Okay, let me just go ahead and put the cap back on my powder so I don't spill it all over the place so we can go ahead and get into filing. For those of you guys, again, that are working with your brush, just remember, it's nice, again, when I'm cleaning up, right, after I'm done doing my client's nails, what you want to be able to do, again, is have it sitting inside your dish. That way you can go ahead and rinse it out, right? Let it sit inside the monomer. This is going to allow you to come through and make sure, again, that we're pulling out any dry acrylic or anything that's stuck inside your brush. This is going to save you guys not only your brush, but a lot of time because you're not going to have to clean it as much. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our hand file. We're going to focus on the side walls first to make sure they're dead even. And then I'm just going to round off the tip right here. So again, I'm working down towards the center. You can see that I have a straight shelf. I have a straight shelf on my side. I'm going to turn my hand to the side in order to get my lower arches dead straight. I'm going to start from the lowest point parallel to the finger. I'm going to file up in order for me to get my lower arches razor sharp straight from this extension, right, from the end of the growth channel out to the end of the form, right? This is completely set. You'll notice on this side it's hanging slightly lower. So again, I want to be able to get that file down and then work myself all the way up until it reaches the end of the growth channel. And then you're going to notice working that almond shape. I have a dead straight extension all the way to the front. A lot of the shaping, you'll notice, right, I have great C-curve underneath all the way, but you'll see that I have a real flat extension as I'm working that type of style. Okay, so let's go ahead and switch out to my safety bit. For those of you guys that are coming in October to train with us for a week, be prepared to really take your electric filing skills to a whole nother level. We're going to change your life completely. Okay, so I'm going to run my electric filer on 12,000 RPMs. Again, I'm right-handed, so I want to be able to use an overgrip position. You can see the majority of the thickness that I'm working with, right? It's going to be right through there. So I barely have to touch the cuticle area to get it tight. I'm going to work through the upper arch, right? And I can do a little bit of detail work right there. Okay, now you're going to notice that as I'm working down, like the thickness that I have here, as I'm working behind the smile line towards myself, right, you can see how sharp that ends up becoming. And then as I am working down and through the smile line, you notice that I don't file away any of my corners. My corners end up staying sharp because the thickness from side to side was, again, the same thickness as I'm working through. Okay, so what we're just doing now is reducing a lot of the bulk. I'm going around the cuticle area. There's no way I'm gonna be able to file this flush to the nail, but what I'm gonna be able to do is take a majority of it down so that when I'm hand filing around the edges, I'm not spending a lot of time doing it. So once my C-curve is done, once my smile line is done, then I can focus my attention on just kind of filing from cuticle to free edge so that my barrel doesn't slip. Don't make the mistake of filing this way, holding the hand like this and like this. This leads to the bit slipping around. You have to understand how to work the cuticle area. You have to understand how to work the C-curve. You have to understand how to work the upper arch, all in one direction pointing to yourself. If you're left-handed, you're working in reverse. So last but not least, what I'm gonna end up doing, just to show you guys, I'm gonna come around the cuticle area to blend that as flush as I possibly can. The amount of hand filing that I have to do is at a minimal. All right, so that's, again, getting to the point where you're not spending a ton of time hand filing is going to be your key to success. Let's go ahead and bring this up. All right, let's get this here. So I'm doing my last bit of detailing around the edges. We're going again with a very subtle, active length, almond shaped nail. I'm going to be able to file this down the barrel of the nail to make sure that it's going to be even from side to side. Could use a little bit of a sponge to take away some of that harsh edge. All right, just making sure that everything is going to be even, and then you can see as I wipe away the surface, my smile lines are going to be razor sharp from side to side. Okay, that's what we want to be able to do. You're going to be able to do that in reverse. So once I'm done cleaning this off with swipe, I could take a little bit of protein bond, right? And this is, for those of you guys that are starting, what you want to be able to do is use a little bit of protein bond around the edges, right? So this is not only going to secure your top coats from chipping, it's going to make sure that they're going to last week. So I'm going to take a nice amount, healthy amount of finished gel. We're going to apply it from cuticle to free edge. And as you can see, all right, let's go ahead and get this. All right, that's what we want to be able to create from start to finish. All right, and again, being able to do the glitter extension, capping it with clear is going to make all the difference in the world when it actually comes to you having a lot of success instead of using white. Okay? All right, cool.
What's up, guys? I'm the education coordinator for Young Nails Incorporated, and I really hope you guys are enjoying this nail tutorial with Greg Salo. Here's the thing, I don't think you guys know this yet, but there's actually Zoom classes for all this stuff. All about acrylic, all about gel, all about how to use the e-file correctly, just like they do in the salon. A lot of people don't know this. We have Zoom classes for all this stuff. So if you want to take it to the next level, here's what I want you to do, and do it now. 714-992-1400. That's the number to call, or email me, ray@youngnails.com. It's getting filled up, but I want you to call now, 714-992-1400, or email me, ray@youngnails.com. Now let's get back to that tutorial. This thing is awesome.
It's always about, again, preparation. Your success when it comes to doing nails is based on 3 variables. It's not based on just prep. It's based on application. It's based on finishing. Your finishing, your electric filing skills are going to determine your success as you are learning this trade. It's going to determine, again, great prep. It's going to determine great finishing. And once you have a really good understanding of both, dude, it's game on. All right. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. We're always here to help. I appreciate you guys tuning into Nail School. For those of you guys, again, that are interested, later this afternoon around 1 o'clock, I'm going to be going live on TikTok. Follow us there for some, again, fundamentals when it comes to acrylic. I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Have a great day. Peace.
Subscribe to the channel now.